Hey, what's up, witches? It's me, Luna. Take three. Today is December 11th, 2023, as I'm shooting this exactly 2 weeks until Christmas. And I decided rather than wait hours until I have other things done, I'm going to shoot a very honest video. How can you tell? Look at the stack of boxes back here that need to be cleaned up. Look at me in my jammies. Although they're not my jammies. This is my morning gown and my robe because I am autistic and I can't handle wearing clothing while I sleep. But I am here to shoot an unboxing for you today, and it's a classic deck from US Games, the Native American Tarot deck. This is by Magda Weck Gonzalez and illustrated by J.A. Gonzalez. And the cards depict different aspects of daily life from a variety of Native American tribes, including Apache, Arapaho, Cherokee, Cheyenne, Chippewa, Comanche, Hopi, Huron, Inuit, Iroquois, Kiowa, Navajo, Papago, Pima, Pueblo, Shawnee, Sioux, etc. Let's name them all now. Created by Magda Weck Gonzalez of Shawnee heritage. So right away, I'm like, whew, okay. And illustrated by her husband, J.A. Gonzalez. The cards feature Native American history, symbolism, and folklore, including material related by a Blackfoot medicine man, Harry Sparrowhawk. I really appreciate the attributions, particularly from such a classic deck in a time where we're, becoming much more aware of appropriation and stuff. And this is 1982 copyright, so a bit ahead of its time, I would say, which you would expect from, from a deck in the divinatory arts. Introduction. Many styles of tarot decks exist today. My husband and I have collected numerous decks, but none seem to speak to us or reflect our way of life. My husband is of Spanish descent and has been reading tarot since his college days. I was raised in a family that believes in seances, Ouija boards, and card reading. My mother is half Shawnee and half Boston Irish, and she's from the Cumberland Mountains of Kentucky. Her mother, a Shawnee, was a spirit speaker. Papa was Gypsy and Dutch. Wow. At 16, I started to investigate the folklore and occult beliefs of my ancestors and have continued to do so over the years in both academic studies and personal research. Strong feelings of kinship with my Shawnee relatives and meetings with Native Americans of many tribes have encouraged me to learn much about Native American symbolism. An especially helpful teacher has been a Blackfoot medicine man, Harry Sparrowhawk. About 6 years ago, I envisioned a tarot deck with a Native American theme encompassing lore from all the North American nations. I knew exactly what I wanted, but didn't have the skill to do the artwork. After marrying, I mentioned the idea to my husband, an artist and musician. He became fascinated with the project and immediately began work on it. We now present to you the culmination of our efforts, the Native American Tarot deck. Cool. Okay. At first, we thought of modifying the illustrations of traditional tarot decks, but this method was too limited. It became more and more apparent that the spirit and feeling of the Native American way was more important than standard interpretations. Inspired by the fusion of European and Native American ideals, we modified the card titles and illustrations in both obvious and subtle ways. Okay. First, we thought of modifying the illustrations of traditional tarot decks, but that was too limited. Okay. So here is a list of what the old and new ones are. So for instance, we have the Fool is still the Fool. The Magician is Hostine Coyote. The High Priestess is Corn Maiden. The Empress is Medicine Woman. So they show the traditional with Roman numerals. They show the renamed ones with Arabic numerals. The four suits of the minor arcana cards have interesting correspondences. Blades, of course, are swords, and they give a list of correspondences like spades, swords, air, spirit, east, spring, and dawn. The wands are pipes, the cups are vessels, and the pentacles are shields. The four tribal figures, court cards, in each suit have titles that are modified in the Native American Tarot deck. The traditional Queen, King, Knight, and Page is matriarch, chief, warrior, and maiden. People may wonder why we have not used the word squaw in our deck. Squaw is a bastardization of the Iroquois word for male genitalia. When the white explorers first met the Iroquois, they asked where they could find women. Not being understood, the explorers pointed to their genitalia. The braves told them the word for penis, which the explorers mistook to mean woman. This mistake has persisted ever since. We feel the use of the term squaw would be an affront to all women, and we have chosen not to use it. And thank you for explaining that. You know, when someone is doing something like this and they take the opportunity to educate, I have a whole bunch of respect. Native American matriarchs are older women respected for their skills and women. Chiefs are not considered rulers. Rather, they are wise and respected men who have earned their title and its responsibilities. Warriors are young men still proving themselves. Maidens are young women, married or single, who must also prove their worth. Okay, the tribal figures do not represent set personalities, but rather the essence of the powers of personality that people project. The four basic power essences are: the matriarchs are power within, spiritual. The chiefs are power potential, intellectual. The warriors are power activated, and that's material. And the maidens are power flowing, and that's emotional. I love how they've developed this. Okay, the imagery of the Native American tarot deck is drawn from the four corners of North America, the Eastern nations, 2 major arcana, and 14 minor arcana. So they go through the areas of these nations and tell you specifically which cards are drawing from that culture. We have Eastern nations, Plains nations, Southwest, Northwest, and then things that are universal to all nations. And that's amazing. Many tribes are represented in this deck, including the following. Partial listing. So like it was on the side there: Apache, Arapaho, Cherokee, Cheyenne, Chippewa, Comanche, Hopi, Huron, Inuit, Iroquois, Kiowa, Navajo, Papago, Pima, Pueblo, Shawnee, Sioux, and Yaqui. So they added one more, the Yaqui. Okay. Interpretations of all the cards in the Native American Tarot, plus examples of spreads that we've found most in keeping with the theme of the deck, will be found in the subsequent pages of the booklet. Reversed meanings are not given for the major arcana. We feel that the spiritual karmic nature of the major arcana symbols incorporates all possibilities, creating a balance of positive and negative qualities within the cards themselves. We sincerely hope that the great wisdom of our Native American heritage will bless and guide you as you use this deck. That's a really interesting point, because the majors, the typical thing is majors are life lessons and spiritual, the phases of life. They're more archetypal things, whereas the minors are more realistic and practical. So to not give the majors reverses, I find really fascinating. And then we go to the majors. The Fool in this deck is a Kachina. To the Hopi, Kachina means a spirit. So we have a long description. And that's it. There's, let's see. So you read through. The most important aspect of the Fool is its number is 0, representing the void that is the source of all things. And so that last paragraph kind of gives the meaning of it, but we get a lengthy entry for each of the majors. And I see some planetary correspondences. Okay, let's go to the minors. Suit of Blades, and we start with the matriarch. So we have the matriarch at the top, and then we go down. And the same thing with the minors. We get a lengthy entry, and the very last paragraph gives really the essence of the meaning, and then we have some reversed meanings as well. Now let's look at the readings at the back. The spreads. We have a medicine wheel spread. That's pretty extensive. We have the Native Cross spread. We have the Aztec Pyramid spread. And then we have the Shining Star spread. These are all, and then the Kachina knife. So that's just a 5 card. Need to make a choice. Oh, wait a minute. Yes. Need to make a choice. Close friendship. Strength, need. Oh, wait, those are the meanings. 5 is the point and signifies the future. 1 is placed to the left. Card 2 to the right. 3, but they don't. 5 card spread used for questions that can be answered yes or no. Cards 1 and 2 are the heart of the matter. The hilt of the blade. Card 3 forms the handle, signifies past influence. Card 4 is the base and is the present. And card 5 is the point and signifies the future. Okay, interesting. I think I'll do my regular old 6-card spread. But you see, we have the little white book. We have a regular old U.S. Games tuck box, which will be getting the tape treatment. I'll see you in a sec. I don't know why I said I'll see you in a sec, because I'm not going anywhere to you. Anyway, here we have the typical U.S. Games facing card with the copyright on it. Here are the back, or the backasa. So we can see this is more like, looks like an Inuit. This looks more like maybe, I don't know whether that's Southwest, but you certainly see recognizable images put together in kind of a collage. I want to see if we have a back. Yes. Oh, looky here. This says, "See a medicine song. Grant our children life and happiness. Send forth the good south winds. Send forth your breath over the waters, that our world may be beautiful and our people may thrive. Far off over there, Sun Father awakens and climbs up his ladder, leaving his resting place. May all complete life's long road. May all grow old. May our little ones know the sweet smell of the sacred breath of life. May all our children have Mays, that they may complete their journey. Sit down, remain here. We give our best gift, our best thoughts. We inhale the sweet smell of the sacred breath through our prayer plumes." Wow, that's beautiful. And they didn't mention that I saw. Here's the Fool. And the art style is, it's light. It's, I hate using this word, but in, art critique worlds, they would call it primitive. The Fool, possibly male, possibly female. We can't really tell. And I'm sure in the book it's going to talk about where all of the parts of the image come from. Let's see. The Fool in this deck is a Kachina. To the Hopi, Kachina means a spirit, a masked impersonator of the gods, or a carved and painted doll in the likeness of a spirit. The Pueblo do not use these dolls as idols, but rather hang them on the walls of their homes as lessons to study and reminders of the powers the dolls represent. Respect for the Fool is not without precedent. In Europe, the court jester was not necessarily a simpleton, and in fact often served to remind the monarch of his own folly and humanity. The Kachina is used this way also among Native Americans. Though most Pueblo recognize them, the largest pantheon of Kachinas is that of the Hopi, about 250 various forms such as demons, ogres, animals, birds, and as depicted on this card, clowns. The Fool, a Kachina clown, stands on a hillside at dusk. The setting sun and rising moon are both in the sky, representing the balance of all things. The clown is dressed in a breechclout, wears a scarf around his neck and cloth tied like banners around his wrists and his knees. His headdress is a cloth turban on which is attached a set of mock horns made of beads and straw. In his left hand he carries a sack. Hanging from his neck are a medicine bundle for protection and cedar boughs representing growth. I want to look for everything here. A scruffy little dog runs at his side. The most important aspect of the Fool is that his number is 0, representing the void that is the source of all beings. The connection between foolishness and holiness is traditional. In the Middle East, a madman is believed to be possessed and is considered a holy man or prophet. The Native Americans also believe that madness can be divine. The innocence of the Fool is his strongest characteristic. His essence is creative light. So we don't really get keywords. And I'm kind of sad for that. They've mentioned innocence. They've mentioned his essence. innocence, the divinity, the void, the source, um, growth. Everything that's around his neck has a meaning to it that they mentioned, but it's not boiled down into concise keywords. Is this a beginner's deck? I don't know. And we do have borders, a border within a border. Hostine Coyote. That's the magician. So we see the 4 tools, looking for recognizable things, and give us some help. Since these don't have Roman numerals on. Okay, interesting. So these have Arabic numerals, the majors, and the minors have the numbers spelled out. So they do differentiate. That makes me happy. Corn Maiden is the high priestess. Look at her with the mask on. This is going to be a fascinating deck to learn from. Here's Medicine Woman, the Empress. I like that she's not necessarily a young-looking woman. Council Chief, the Emperor. So the style here is very interesting. We've got outlines. We've got, let me see if I can show you this closer. I can't remember if I've got my focus set on fixed or not. All right, never mind. But we can see lines. It's almost like a coloring book where you would fill in these little spaces. Then we have Shaman as the Hierophant. With the war bonnet, I believe. Here's the Lovers. Look at him playing the flute for her. Very calm and placid looking scene. The sled. It's a dilute and washed out, I guess, sort of light-handed with the colors. Everything's very pale. Pale is the word I was looking for. Here's the sled. That's the chariot, of course. Strength. Look at her with a puma. I cannot identify what culture she may come from. But look at the different pelts she has on. I'm curious. These are deep dives after all. Let's take a look. All right. We will note also that strength is number 8, which means justice will be 11. The cougar, lion of the North American continent, is a strong, beautiful cat, weighing between 150 300 pounds and measuring between 7 and 9 feet in length. Okay, The cougar on the card, strength, is pictured with a Shawnee medicine woman, a shapeshifter, whose eyes are the same color as the cat's, for they are in essence one. All right, I'm looking for, and then it talks about what the card represents. It does not mention this thing made of many different pelts. Huh. Wow. So they're just beautiful. And even the rainbow back here is sort of pale colors. And I was going to say, looking at this, when it talked about the color of her eyes, it's like, I'm supposed to see that. I can't see that. And I know that which deck did I just see? I think it was Tarot of a Moon Garden that US Games has reissued without the inner borders, or without the outer borders, I should say, just with the artwork. And I do appreciate that. I'm not one that's ever going to go and cut borders off my cards because, too fussy. And I am much more interested in the cards being cut evenly than not having borders. And you take the borders off, it doesn't make the cards any, the images any bigger. But I'm seeing now that publishers are starting to reissue because they're recognizing that people don't like the borders and cut them off. And when they do it, we get bigger images. And it would be nice to see this deck with bigger images. Here's the Hermit. Wow. Medicine Wheel is the Wheel of Fortune, of course. Justice. It looks like a council meeting. Sundance. So this is Hanged Man. I mean, is that powerful or what? That's perfect. Here's Death. The Weaver. And I wish you could see closer up. Oh, maybe you can. Look at the kind of the sectioning off of like the different color shading on the face. Just fascinating art style. I really like it. So the Death. So Temperance is the Weaver. And that's really perfect. Each individual thread. I always talk about the Temperance card, talking about assimilation and integration, taking all these different life lessons and like this is weaving them into the fabric of who you are right now. And then you can drop the storyline. So, wow, just amazing. Here's the Devil. See, I want to stop and read every single one, and I'm not going to do that. Here's the Tower. Look at lightning striking the Pueblo. The stars is Spider. And here's the moon. Yes. I like the archer here. A nod to Diana, huh? Here's the sun with the Aztec solar calendar. Is that Aztec or Maya? That might be Maya. Judgment. And please forgive me for anything, for my ignorance whenever it shows up here. Here's Judgment. And this is a sky burial, I think they call them, where they put the bodies up on the platform and allow the carrion birds to return the body to the earth, to the sky. And here's the world. Look at Turtle Island. Here's the matriarch of Blades. She's strong. And looky, it's Geronimo. I don't recognize him anywhere. The chief of Blades. Here's the warrior. Look at that. And the maiden. The faces are just glorious. And we can see the little symbol here on the quartz. We have the symbol of the blade at the top. And we have the 10. Oh my. The 9. Polygamy. Way, whoa. Okay. How did I miss that? There are keywords. There are keywords on the minors. Ruin. And this one is polygamy. The 9 of Blades is polygamy. There's a whole lecture in there. Absolutely fascinating. 8 is captive. So we have kind of pippish because we show the number of blades on the card. Horse thief is 7. 6 is journey. 5 is spiritualist. Interesting. 4 is the scout. It's kind of hanging out, watching what's going on. The 3 is mourning. Oh. The 2 is travois, which is a thing that is attached to animals to transport stuff. And then the 1 of blades. So travois is the 2. Huh. Okay, I'm not going to stop and ponder each one, or we'd be here for hours and hours. There's the 1 of blades. Then we have the matriarch of pipes. And as you see the pipes at the top, the chief, the warrior, the flaming brand there, and the maiden. Look at her. What do they call that? Squash blossom hair, I think. It's beautiful. Then the 10 is mockery. That's That really is fascinating. I'm not going to look it up. Here's defiance is the 9. Standing your ground, boundaries. The 8 is smoke signals. Seven is counting coup. 6, victory. Oh, Custer. 5 is stickball. I mean, victory. And they show Custer standing there. Maybe the moment before he dies. 5 is stickball. Okay. 4 is honor. 3 is joint effort. A walrus hunt. That's very cool. 2 is the trapper. And the 1 of pipes. Wow, I'm mind blown. I expected this to be, I mean, I've been aware of this deck forever, and I expected this to be just, Native American clothing on a Smith Waite deck, and this is so far beyond that. The matriarch of vessels, the basket, the chief of vessels, the warrior, and the maiden. Again, the faces are just fascinating, and the art style. The 10 is happy family. Oh my God. This is what I have always called this card. I've called the 10 of cups the happy family, and the 10 of pentacles the stable family. Okay. The 9 is the wish card. Thank you for that. That's what everybody calls it. The 8 is indolence. So we don't get walking away. We just get bleh. 7 is vision quest. Wow, what a great take on these things. 6, contentment. I like that. You don't get that, handing down of knowledge or memory or childhood. It's just contentment. Warrior woman is the 5. 4 is pregnancy. Waiting, just that wait. I love it. Here's corn dance for 3. That works. The 2 is union. And the 1 of vessels. Look at that beautiful, beautiful basket, or pot, really. Here's the matriarch of shields. The chief. The warrior. And the maiden. So not only is he on a horse that doesn't go anywhere, he's actually sitting on the ground. So the knight just does not go anywhere. The warrior. Here's the maiden of shields. Then we have the harvest. The thunderbird. So, I can't help but think that either the numbers could be gone since we have the pips on here, or the pips could be gone. That's such a small, fussy criticism that, wow, Thunderbird, here's Sand Painter. That's amazing. Trail of Tears is the 7 of Pentacles. Talk about debts. Wow. The 6 is Giveaway Dance. No, wait, 7. That's Review. That's not Loans and Debts. That's the 6. Review. The trail. Dang. So Giveaway Dance is the 6 here. 5 is Cultivation. 4 is the Silence. Wow. 3, the Craftsman. And I love that because usually, 4 of Pentacles shows like greed and grasping. And I don't know that they have those concepts, or at least the cultures aren't run by them. And here's the silence. Wow. The craftsman. Kachina juggler. Look at, he's juggling like halves of the yin yang. And then the one of shields. Looks like a cougar and a wolf. I absolutely love when a deck surprises me. And this one really has. All these years, 40 years, I've, been aware of this deck and thought, it's just going to be a appropriated Native American symbols on a Waite Smith deck, and why bother? I already have what I need. But this is so very much beyond that. And let's give it some sacred smoke. Let's wash all of the whatever might be hanging on. And by air and fire, may you be purified and charged. Oh, let's do the book too. And send out gratitude to the author and the artist while we're at it, because this deck really does add something to a couple big conversations. By water and earth, may you be blessed and made whole. And by the sound of the bell, may the spirit awaken. And, the intents of the authors, all of that. Guides and guardians, allies and ancestors. Uh-oh. Thank you for being here. Thank you for my gifts. Thank you for this deck. Thank you for helping me to find some good messages for my viewers here. And I offer you fresh water and the fire of Azrael. And you can tell readings are about to happen because I'm heating up. Let's give it a shuffle. Now, look at this. This is a tarot deck made to be a tarot deck. Great card stock, fits well in the hand, shuffles like a dream. Then you can get on with the business of using the deck. I really do feel like it's consumerism and capitalism that have given us the trend of super thick cardstock and giant cards. And, for me, the value is in the essence of the deck, in the artwork, in the writing. And to get to that essence, I need to be able to use the tool in a way that doesn't upset me and hurt my hands. So this tells me, it's U.S. Games. Come on, they started the whole ball rolling, right? And I really, really appreciate this. Okay, so now focus. Welcome to the fold. Welcome to the collection. Please, I would like a message today, please, for whoever may be watching now, in the future, whatever their now is. A message, please, for everyone watching that will allow them to live according to their highest spiritual principles. Okay, one more shuffle. Oh, okay. No, we're just doing this because those cards are going to be in it. So let's go. You know what? I have been lately putting the middle card down first. So I heard them yelling at me when I did it the other way. So we switched it. And who's them? My guides. They were yelling at me. So we have the 5 of blades, warrior, or of vessels, warrior woman. We have the 1 of vessels. And we have the 3 of vessels. Then we have the 4 of what? Of pipes. the Two of Pipes, and a Major. Okay. Interesting that we've got vessels, pipes, and a major. So, but I am confident that we got enough of a shuffle. I could have done it many more times, but let's see where we go. So if I go, and I love that we have a major, we have an ace, we have minors, and we have a court. So yay! And I'm not going to read the whole entry on all of these by any means. All right, so right in the center, we get the Ace of Vessels, the One of Vessels. So how are we going to restart ourselves emotionally today? How do we keep our cup full? How do we pay attention to this vessel? And the stars, of course, talk about hope, about connecting with spirit, about inspiration, about art. The warrior woman stands up, but it's a joint effort in order to, care for this vessel, in order to take care of ourselves emotionally and have a new start emotionally. One of vessels can talk about joy and a new emotional beginning. And warrior woman stands up when she needs to. This isn't a court. I'm sorry. This is a minor. This is the Five of Vessels. All right, I'm going to read. I'm going to read. So let's go to the, oh, whoops, they're backwards. I did a video where I talked about why that is. It's explained in Rachel Pollack's 78 Degrees of Wisdom that we're starting with like the ultimate, the culminating, and then going back down through, like breaking it into its pieces. Okay, the Native Americans of the sedentary agricultural tribes developed pottery making into a fine art. Some of the most beautiful pottery was and still is made by women of the Algonquin, Iroquois, and Pueblo tribes. The methods used and types of pottery made were influenced by the environment. The women of the woodland tribes made their pottery from clay that was powdered and mixed with shell or sand and water. They shaped the clay into ropes and coiled the ropes around gourds. The gourds burnt away as the pottery was fired. After cooling, the pot was sanded and painted. That is a fascinating fact. In the Southwest, the potter's art was almost a religion. The women remained silent and respectful throughout the process, from gathering the clay until the last ornate design was painted. They believed that if the spirit of the clay was respected in this way, their source would never fail. Southwestern women learned early to make jars holding several gallons of water eggshell thin so the jars would not be so heavy to carry from distant wells and water holes. The jar pictured on our card is a Southwestern fetish jar used by a medicine woman to foretell the future. A hole was knocked into the side so that a fetish might fall out when the jar was shaken. So there's the hole. Wow! The fetishes might be feathers, claws, or shells. The essence of the Ace of Vessels is the fulfillment, the beginning of, or the renewal of love. So we get one sentence. We get 3 paragraphs of the description of the culture and the practices for the symbol of the suit. And then we get one sentence. This is what this stands for. And then we get reversed. Feeling, emotions, and love are all smothered or are delayed in their acquisition. Okay, so we have a renewal. We're looking for a renewal of love. Oh my God, how pertinent is that right now on this planet? A renewal of love. We have been worshiping hatred and enshrining it. Here I go. All right, let's go to the Five of Vessels. I'm going to try not to go off so hard. All right, so they're talking about Amazons, women warriors, who had to be better at their craft than their male counterparts. Gee, nothing's changed there, huh? Okay, now, Lozen, sister of the famous Southwestern chief Victorio, Lozen, a Warm Springs Apache living in a patriarchal society, worked to excel at all she did as a woman and as a warrior. She was dedicated to her people and became an expert war strategist and counselor. Among the eastern tribes, matriarchal societies were more prevalent, and among the nomadic Shawnee, the women had equal say in war and peace. Even today, there's much joking about the fierceness of Shawnee women. Okay. The warrior woman symbolizes dedication to a cause. Now the time is ripe to fight for a personal cause. Okay, so a renewal of love. What's it going to take? The women standing up. The women standing up and fighting. Because you know what? Hey, men, dear men, you're the ones that start all the wars. You're the ones that are so fond of hatred and murder and genocide. And we're taking it back. We're taking it back. So, wow. Okay. Thank you. And now we have the three of vessels corn dance. No. I'm very confused. The three of, pipes. So I'm seeing them in the water, and that kind of took me off guard. So we really need to be aware of the pip symbols here. You see the pipes coming in from the side. Joint effort. So we have the 2, the 3, and the 4 of pipes. So it didn't really get that great of a shuffle, but I don't care. At this point, the message is coming through. Okay. The Inuit lived dangerously, hunted well, traveled far, took excellent care of their families. Joint effort shows 2 Inuit hunters in their kayaks flanking a walrus. One hunter paddles his kayak, the other wields a spear. They're dressed in fur-lined parkas. The paddler wears snow goggles. All right. Joint effort is the cooperation needed to build a strong foundation with a constant flow of energy for growth. So the women need to take the lead and stand up and fight, and the men need to support. Then let's find out what else is going on here. We have the 4. Honor. The essence of honor is success attracted by foresight and humility. Inherent is the climax of negotiations successfully brought to a gainful conclusion. Guess what I'm thinking about? Negotiations, ceasefires, peace talks. But the talks cannot happen until the guns are silent, and the women need to be heard. You know, for the women to be heard, the guns need to be silent as well, and they need to stay silent. Whew. And, it would help if we could remember that we're all after the same things as human beings. But I think perhaps we're after different things as women and men. And that's where this negotiations, but look, honor. The women need to be honored. But unfortunately, we have to demand that we are honored because it doesn't seem, well, it isn't, period, full stop. It is not yet baked into the system. 2 of pipes, the trapper. The essence of the trapper is realized in the concept of beginnings, new trails to blaze, new lessons to learn, and new directions. One must have the courage to stand alone and also the power and energy to help others as needed. The key concepts here are strength and compassion. So look, we have standalones and we have work togethers. The warrior woman and the trapper, blazing new trails, being led by the women who are saying, here's how things need to be now. I read something the other day. It said, women are half of the human race, and we have birthed the entire human race. Honor. Whew. And then we have the stars at the bottom. Okay. Grandmother Spider, the messenger of the creator and benefactress to the people. The essence of the stars is favorable, showing the proper balance of spiritual and physical elements, earth and sky woven together to bring enlightenment. However, baser passions could cloud perception, creating an imbalance. And as I said, stars are like the highest that you can reach for. Reach for the stars, wish on a star, you know. But classically, the star card embodies hope. It's the ability, no matter what's going on around you here, to imagine and conceive of the highest and best possibility and be inspired by that to create something. That's why the star card also can, when it shows up, it can be the card of an artist or somebody who's a creator. But I appreciate that we got, you know, some hope at the end. I would like to find a court card here. Let's find our first court. Yeah, see, these are all the majors here. It's close to it. Maiden 8, 4. Okay, it's very easy. I was looking, looking too hard, and then I realized all I have to do is look at the top here. And when I see a symbol instead of a number, holy moly, there we go. We get the Maiden of Vessels. Let's see what she says. It is kind of a thick little book. All right. The Natchez occupied the Bayou country around what is now Louisiana. Their elaborate tribal structure was headed by an exalted royal family called Sons. Noble heritage descended on the mother's side, for theirs was a matrilineal society. This assured at least half the parentage, for as a tribesman once explained, the womb cannot lie. I'm thinking while I'm talking, sorry. All right, this assured at least half the parentage, for as a tribesman once explained, the womb cannot lie. Everybody knows who their mom is, mostly. Native American tribes had many views on the woman's role, and tribal customs often had stringent sexual taboos. Among the Natchez, however, maidens did not need to even attempt to conceal their sexual exploits. A Natchez maid's chastity held no value, and she received and expected generous gifts from all her lovers. Hallelujah. Her reputation rested not on her chastity, but on the size of the dowry that her freedom and desirability enabled her to amass. So when she had a wealth that she collected from all her lovers saying, yeah, this babe is something, this woman is worth it. Wow, amazing. The Maiden of Vessels is not dressed in the Natchez style. Rather, she wears what might be called a slave blouse. Oh my God. We can't get away from it. This is a reminder that all the Natchez were sold into slavery by the French. On her head, she carries a basket filled with the wash she has just done on the bayou banks behind her. Water lilies spring up in the shallow waters. A flock of egrets takes flight. The Maiden of Vessels is infinitely gracious, sweet, voluptuous, gentle, kind, and tender. She is an incurable, perpetual romantic, unsurpassed as a helpmate. Rarely, if ever, would she be of individual importance. Blinded by illusion, this is reversed. Blinded by illusion, susceptible, seductive, and temporary, she is a slave to passion, a deviate. Okay. So what ends here? The first court, a woman with her sexual autonomy. A woman with no layers of patriarchal judgment on her person or her sexuality. This is where we have to be. This is where we must be. Okay, I'm going to stop talking because, like I said, I could rant for hours and hours. But the end rant is, wow, get this deck. This is a deck that is adding so much to the conversation, and it's a 40-year-old deck, you guys. I am so impressed and amazed by how forward-looking these people were with this deck, and expecting a deck that's kind of aged and dated, and maybe we could have done that better. I'm finding the exact opposite. So tell me what you think of this deck, and man, I am glad I got it. I was thinking, did I really need to add it? But yes, I did. I really needed to add it to the collection, and I will use it. Sometimes native-based decks, I'm sort of hesitant to use because it's not my culture. And but the decks, I think what I really want to be a stickler about is that decks that are created that depict any kind of native culture really need to come out of the mind and the hands of someone from that culture, so they're not appropriative. And this one, being as specific, culturally specific as it is, has definitely filled that. If this came from a white person with all these cultural things, I would be pissed off. But I'm not. I'm very happy. What do you think? Let me know down below, you guys. I'm so glad you hung out with me. I will see you next time for a live or an unboxing. Till then, this is Luna. Blessed be.